We have live team coverage coming on throughout the newscast again, and let's go live now, if we can, to several of our reporters who were inside the courtroom watching this all happen, including Justin Joseph, who was there as the verdict was read. Justin Joseph live outside the Arapahoe County Courthouse right now with more on what was going on inside that courtroom. Justin, what can you tell us?
Well, Jeremy, first, if I could follow up on what Jansen was talking about in terms of the lives that have changed and the people that now have to move on, having got the guilty verdict that they've been waiting on for 3 years. Sandy Phillips and her husband have been here since the beginning. They, of course, are the parents of Jessica Gowie. And on, on Tuesday, they came out and were talking after court about what's next for them. You know, you'll remember, this is the family that sold all of their belongings, put their house up for rent, moved in a trailer here for this court hearing. And so we asked them after the closing, what's next for you all? And they said, you know, we're starting over. We're rebuilding our lives. They talked about needing a new direction, but they said for the most part, that's really what all of these families are going through. You know, this is what they've been waiting on for 3 years since that night on July 20th, 2012. And to have this guilty verdict is really just a breath of fresh air. But in terms of what's happening inside, I want to just talk for a moment about, you know, this is good news for a lot of people, but on the other hand, this brings up all of those emotions, all of those memories of 3 years ago. And so there were a lot of tears forming just as I was getting ready to leave. A lot of people, you could feel the tension in what they were about to hear. But on the other hand, and I talked about this earlier, you also knew there was a sense of optimism because a verdict this fast only could mean that they were going to have a guilty verdict. And so that was the sense of these victims and their families. You know, the actual victims that we saw, for example, Josh Nolan, who now walks with a cane, when he sits down, he literally has to massage his legs to keep that blood moving. He just sat and stared ahead in silence, almost as if he was praying. Tom Teves, I can tell you that he has been really angry in this trial. Whenever his son would be discussed, he would look at the defendant and sort of rock back and forth and just stare him down. So those are the kinds of emotions and feelings that you're getting inside the courtroom. Again, as you just talked about, Jeremy, they are reading these counts still, and so it's going to be some time before a lot of these victims and their families come out to talk to the media. Some of them aren't going to do that at all, but it's one of the things that we are waiting out here for as the judge continues to read his verdict. Let's head inside to Deborah Takahara with more. Deb?
Thank you, Justin. And then we have so many psychological